this anymore.
I'd use the song as a way to express that emotion, and it would be very much first-hand experience and not too much creative storytelling. I think over the years I've had more fun still using pieces of my life for songs, but letting things be a little more fictional and allowing a song to take you to a place that isn't necessarily a place you've ever gone before in your life, you know? I like this album, Winter Games. It came out almost 2 years ago now. This was the first single off of it. It's called Shotgun. Oh, and I'm riding shotgun.
Was it that night I turned up in the blue tie? You didn't know I would show because the cell phone signal, it was off right. Glowing cheek, it was orange from the torchlight. And who would have thought by the end of the weekend we would be in first ride? They told me saviors don't come cheap. Should've let you speak. Miss you riding shotgun.
That's the good thing about short songs, because it's good for short drives.
So I'm the lighthouse keeper. It takes a lot of work to keep this place going. One of the things I have to do is make sure that the light is on at night so that boats don't crash into each other or into the rocks. I've been doing this for about 12 years now. And I live up at the top there. And yeah, that's why I stay on Cape Cod. I know there's less things happening musically here, but it's just what I love, you know. I get to wake up every morning and look out at this. It's windy today. There's no major weather events, but we just wanted to show you some real live weather here on sunny old Cape Cod. As you can see, we've got the ocean there. Sources say that the wind will be holding up today.
How would you describe your sound?
I think my sound is a little bit like that bird. When you're trying to fly one way and the wind is just kind of not allowing you to get where you're going. That's how I feel. Like the bird is a guitar and the wind is like synthesizers and programmed drums, and it's all about this battle of combining live and digital, and we never actually end up going anywhere, but it's cool to see.
How come it took something so fun to get the world to see? How come the second that it's over back to comic speed? I guess I'll finally kill my ego now there's no TV. Won't you just come down from that big old tree and play with me?
Brian, do you have a defining moment or a turning point in your music journey?
It was actually at the Woods Hole Library, which we're not too far from right now. It was the first time I played a show solo as Racing Days instead of a live band. And that's when I realized that I could do it solo and that I didn't need to have like a full band to do Racing Days. So I think that was it. That was August something, if like 13th maybe, 2019. And that's kind of when this solo Racing Days really began.
Do you have a favorite venue or a show that you've ever played at?
That's so funny. I actually have another Woods Hole memory. This was before Racing Days. It was the days of Island Tigers. And we played the Woods Hole Community Hall. And we had this song where we had a bunch of people up on stage drumming along with us. We had a violin player. Cooper and Sal were on stage too. There's like 12 people on stage. It was kind of talking heads-ish. Anybody who was outside on the street came running in to see what was happening for this one song. And it was just such a charge. That's definitely a show highlight. Are you a little scared of the geese?
No, I want to kind of like fly away with them right now, so that's why I'm going closer, so I can like join their flock. Do you have a favorite animal?
That's a tough one. The only thing that's in my head right now is panda bear.
If you could collaborate with any musician, dead or alive, who would you collaborate with?
Probably a dead musician.
You want to keep going right here? I think we should keep going.
I don't think so.
Are you scared?
Just given the nature of the last question.
All right, let's just keep going. Come on. Let's just keep going.
Jim Croce.
Come on, it looks great.
I would collaborate with Jim Croce.
Wait, who's Jim Croce?
Jim Croce tragically died in a field much like this.
Oh.
So I don't
Well, that's perfect. That's perfect for the shot. We gotta do this.
Let's go. I want to go in.
Well, we're gonna go anyways. Let's go. Oh, come on. Just answer the question.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Come on. If you could collect. So Brian, can you tell me about some of your music influences?
Oh, sure. Mitski, I'd say, is a big influence for me right now. She writes short, indie, rocking pop songs that have synth. They're musically intricate, but they're also really accessible. I'd say she's probably one of the top 5 songwriters alive right now, in my opinion. So, that's kind of like the high bar that I try to set. Is I listen to a lot of her stuff. Hey, Jane. How are you? And other influences. There's a guy called Porches. His real name's Aaron Main. And yeah, so I saw him in Brooklyn. I saw Mitski in Brooklyn as well. We're just gonna go in here. And I think his music is a good example of what I'm trying to do as well. Sometimes he's like synth and rock, and he's kind of a band, but he's also kind of a solo artist. And I'm trying to figure out that same sort of space in music as well. I'd like to kind of try to do something similar.
Do you think part of the difficulty of starting to make music when you start by yourself is like sort of getting a band together?
I think that can be a tough part of trying to get going, because one, I think there's always somebody who's more invested or more excited about it And then sometimes you play with people who are your friends, and maybe it's just kind of a hobby for them. And then it's just hard because you have to keep on playing with people until you find people that you click with, other people who are also really invested in it, and who don't mind spending their whole day practicing in a basement. That's not everybody's cup of tea. Where some people, that's what they love, and you got to find those weirdos and keep them close.
So would you say you're a fan of the one-man band?
Yes, sometimes it's a little lonely as far as workload. You do feel like, oh man, I gotta do everything. The more work that you put in, the more you're gonna get out of it. So I think that it's working for me as racing days because I'm putting a lot of effort into it right now, and I'm hoping that this year I'm gonna see some nice results from that, I hope.
Where did your band name come from?
Oh, so kind of another Woods Hole connection as well. So my dad, his family used to visit Racing Beach, which is not too far from here, when they were young. And another thing was when I was making this new, when I was making Racing Days after my last band ended, I wrote out my full name. And I tried to come up with words out of the letters in my full name, and racing was one of the words that I made. So I was thinking racing beach, and then I just tried to pair racing with a cool word, and I came up with Racing Days.
Well, since we're out here in the cold and we're trying to survive, I found a plant that we can maybe get some substance off of, because we're going to be out here for a long time.
I'm glad that we kept going on the interview, even though we're in a survival situation.
Do you know what plant this is?
If I had to guess what plant this is, I would guess it is a kind of a hint.
It's an aromatic. You can add it to
Aroma. So it has an aroma.
Why don't you give it a touch? Give it a little touch.
Okay. This. Oh, it's rosemary.
You got it. Cool. Oh, it smells so good.
That's very nice smell.
Is it opening?
Did you guys hear that?
Did it just knock back?
I don't know. I think Joseph's in there.
So what are some of your past influences?
Arctic Monkeys were big for me growing up. They really shaped who I was as a guitar player and a lyricist. When I was first in a band, when I was 13, I was a drummer, and we covered Nirvana. And now I teach guitar and other instruments to students, and Smells Like Teen Spirit is my favorite thing to teach kids because they feel like superheroes once they learn that riff, and then older music that's influenced me, kind of from the past. I know this is kind of a broad answer, but I do listen to a lot of classical, and so that's very old music, where that stuff gets my brain going in such a different speed, and I start hearing everything differently after listening to classical, and it makes me want to write music in a more, I don't want to say more calculated way, because that's makes you kind of lose something when you plan things too much, but you realize when you listen to symphonies and things like that, you realize just how big and wondrous things can get, and so you don't have to limit yourself to just 4 chords, Let's push. And Joy Division from late 70s, post-punk scene, I got really into them. And I like, Beatles, obviously, that's a go-to. A lot of that 60s rock, and it is gold.
So, Brian, what do you do outside of music?
Oh, thanks for asking. I do a couple things right now. I work at a music school in Mashpee Commons. It's called Steeple Street Music Academy. I teach guitar, songwriting, bass, and even piano. I tutor a couple kids, and I also just got a new job at Cape Cod Broadcasting. They're in Hyannis. They own 4 local radio stations, and I start training this week.
Broke the door open. What exactly did it let in? Told you I couldn't handle Stephen King. You still made me watch the whole thing. The structural integrity of the shirt made me do the collar pop. But ever since I became that asshole, I don't know how to stop. I'm peering through the mist and steam. Now I really miss the swim team. What even made me wanna leave? Since little kids it was just us 3. Now it's like stolen identity. I wore the mask that they sold me, but now
I got to play that song "Bleach My Hair" at a pool party last summer. It was my friend Magoo. Magoo the dog is their stage name, but Vi is their name in real life. And they had an album release show, and it was at a pool. And that song "Bleach My Hair" is off my album called Swim Team, which is this whole kind of concept album about 3 friends who are maybe on a high school swim team. I'm not really sure. I kind of leave it up to the listener, or if that's just their group of friends, that's what they call it, and they sort of drift apart as friends. And to play "Bleach My Hair" at a pool party last summer, it was so amazing. There were people in the pool in their bathing suits dancing to that song, and I was just like, yes! And it was my first show since everything had got shut down, and so to just feel that energy again of what live music can, bring to people and to the performer, it was like, yes, it just like lit the fire in me again,
yeah, I bleached my hair, 'cause you double dared me. They said blondes have more fun. Why am I feeling scary? Yeah, I bleached my hair, 'cause you double dare me. They said blondes have more fun. Why am I feeling scary?
Brian, what's your dream tour?
Oh, dream tour? That's a good question. Pretty much make a tour around people I love and want to see, and play shows where they are, and be able to stay with people that I know. Like a tour like that, when you're a upcoming artist, isn't too hard to pull off if you're able to spend money on travel, I guess. And because of the way I play music now, I don't have a full band and like a bunch of gear that I have to lug around. It's pretty straightforward. It's like my guitar, my amp, and my backing tracks, and me. Ideally, one day I would love to play all over, I'd love to play the world. I'd love to play other countries, and maybe take boats and trains and planes and all that stuff. They don't have to be private. Like I'm not like a prince about that stuff. I'll just take regular transportation.
Well, I got a surprise for you. See that boat over there?
Yeah.
We're about to take it and go on a world tour! We're going on a world tour! All right, let's go. Let's go. Oh shit, how do we get in?
Thought you had this figured out.
Oh yeah, I guess I gotta go.
In your truck, in your truck, in my dreams that's where we'd fuck. And I'd sit right up front, but the buckle just gets stuck. 21, just in time, lose the shine. Baby boy, keep that shave tight. We'll have fun when you're home for summer set to stun. But please don't go away so quick. The target's circling the sick. My heart's on, my heart's on. Can I just take one more touch? Show your face, go away. This time I won't curse your name. I don't know where you were. Why'd you take my favorite shirt? Throw my bike in the back. Watch the world come off its tracks. In your truck, in your truck, in my dreams that's where we'd fuck. Sit up front, pass the blunt, watch the wonder turn to dust. But please don't go away so quick. The target's circling the sick. Lose yourself. But try to leave some space in your truck.
Brian, we have now found our shelter.
And there's even a fire.
Yeah, it came with the shelter. I didn't do anything.
Man, I'm glad we didn't settle for that bell tower
Yeah.
place.
It looked cold.
Cold and maybe a little haunted.
Well, speaking of places, where are you from?
Oh, I am actually from Falmouth, Massachusetts. And I grew up mostly on the Cape and went to Boston for college. Briefly spent some time in LA and New York in my 20s, but neither city was really the right place for me to thrive. I'm just addicted to the ocean, you know? I gotta be by it. I guess I was by the ocean in both of those places, though, so that wasn't it. That wasn't the problem.
How did you start making music?
Oh, let's see. I started out as a drummer. My very first band was with a guitar player who was really into 80s hair metal. And I learned all these AC/DC and Iron Maiden songs. And we sounded pretty bad like most first bands do. And then I hopped around to a couple other bands as a drummer in my early teens. And then I think when I was about 15, my friends in high school, they started a band called the Blank Docs, and they put out a CD, and I just remember thinking, oh man, like, you can do this, you can make music and put it out there. So at that point I had learned some other instruments, and I started writing songs it really came out of a healthy kind of competition of feeling that sense of, oh, they're doing it, I want to do it too. So, and yeah, so I started making music when I was around somewhere between 15 and 17. I started writing my own songs and recording them, and that's how it started.
Do you want to talk about your songwriting process and how maybe it's evolved a little bit?
Sure. I think when I was younger, maybe more late teens, early 20s, it was very much kind of a little more like a journal or a diary kind of lyrical writing, where if I was mad about something or sad about an event, I'd use the song as a way to express that emotion, and it would be very much firsthand experience and not too much creative storytelling. I think over the years I've had more fun still using pieces of my life for songs, but letting things be a little more fictional and allowing a song to take you to a place that isn't necessarily a place you've ever gone before in your life, you know, kind of like following a mood or a vibe. And even if it starts with something that really happened to you, you can kind of let it become something else. And so I think there's more fun when you allow that to happen. And I think it leaves more space for listeners to bring their own experiences in, as opposed to being super specific about, here's why I'm upset, this is what happened to me, you know. So I think that I hope it's gotten better over the years.
It's almost like a therapeutic sharing process almost.
I hope so. Yeah, I really think that there's responsibility can kind of sound like the wrong word, but it's the best one I can think of right now. I think you do kind of have somewhat of an artistic duty of the music or whatever it is you're making. It should hopefully bring life to people or energize people or help them heal or kind of remind them of what they can do, or even just feelings that they haven't been in touch with. So I feel like if the art I'm making, if I'm experiencing stuff while I'm making it, and if I'm, you know, if I'm like banging my head while I'm doing a synth track, you know, and I'm just like so locked in, and like if I can feel that joy, then the hope is anyway that you can bring that emotion to someone else. Yeah. So.
Do you want to talk about your new project coming up?
Yes, I would love to. So the new Racing Days album is called Summer Movie Club. The first single comes out February 25th, and that first single is actually also called Summer Movie Club. It's the title track. So this album in particular for me really feels like a new chapter, a certain level of confidence making the songs, and also I decided to wait a long time to put it out. I think a lot of these songs were done at least 5 months ago now. Technically, we are still tweaking some things in the studio, redoing some vocals, things like that. But as far as the writing and all that, it's been done for a while. Also, I just really felt like with the title and the vibe of the record, I didn't want to put it out until closer to summer, and hopefully pandemic-wise, maybe we'll be in a better spot by then. And so hopefully, like live show-wise, more can happen.
Where did the name of your next album come from? Summer Movie Club.
Yeah, Summer Movie Club.
I think I have a brochure. Right
oh
here.
Yes, please. So that was one idea about the name that I really wanted. I wanted to find something that kind of sounded like a product or a membership. Summer Movie Club to me means a few different things. Like part of it is that I knew I was going to make more music videos this time, so I liked this idea of the album's kind of sounding like this series of films that you get to see if you're in the club. So yeah, and that exclusivity thing is also part of the songs. What the album explores as a theme is this feeling of, am I good enough? Am I cool enough? Who should I be as a person? Why don't we accept ourselves? A lot of us anyway. Props to anybody who does, you know. But yeah, so I think the songs dealt with that emotion. That's how I was feeling. And I felt like this idea of the summer movie club, they were those friends who were always so cool. Like the summer movie club, like every night feels like a movie, you know. and you kind of don't think that you could be one of them, you know. So lyrically, that was something that tied in with a lot of the songs. And then also I spent some of the pandemic in Woods Hole. I was in an apartment for a while, and one of my roommates was from China, and there was a bit of a language barrier, but we were able to watch movies together. And so that sort of common crossover with somebody from a totally different culture, but being able to still have that shared experience of watching movies together, even if we couldn't talk about them a lot, there was something really cool about making the most out of a sort of like sad, isolated time, but still having some way to bond, you know? Yeah.
What would you say is the definition of success in music?
Whoa, that's a great question. Success in music is when you no longer doubt your contribution to the world. I think it took me so long to really believe that what I'm doing and that what I have to offer is worthwhile. I know that sounds a little intense or whatever, but I think we're always trying to prove ourselves to, whether it's a parent or some other figure in your life, or prove yourself to your peers. Like, I can't check off a lot of boxes that other people my age can. Like, I see on social media, I see people having babies and getting married and buying houses and all these kind of very adult things, you know. And when you choose the artistic path, not all that stuff like comes as easily, or like maybe it comes kind of out of order. It's not the same for everyone, you know, but you're definitely making a choice to, I'm going to chase this thing and I'm going to put my art first. And I think for so much of my 20s, I was doing it, but I was always kind of carrying this self-doubt of like, what if it doesn't happen? What if I spend all this time making music and no one ever hears it? You know, I was always carrying that with me. And I think success in music, now I'm remembering the question, success in music for me is letting go of that. And that, like, it's not about getting signed. It's not about any sort of clear-cut goal or a thing you can accomplish. I think it's like a state as an artist when you're like, this is what I do, this is what I make. I'm no longer like second guessing myself all the time. And when you're in that zone and you really are creating from like a self belief place in your heart, like I really think that your best stuff can come out of that. And that once you're making that, all the rest of it, all that stuff like tour and getting more fans and all that, like all that is effort and work. And if you're willing to put in the work and figure out how all that falls into place, you can do it. It's not going to be quick, but it can happen. So for me, the success has been this kind of new emotional or like just kind of lens that I'm seeing this all through now.
What advice would you give to aspiring artists?
I think you have to learn to trust your instincts, whether it's people who you're collaborating with, whether it's playing a certain show, if you get a bad vibe from the person that's, organizing it, or a band that you're playing with, like just learning to start trusting those emotions, or those instincts that become part of this road. I guess you can't really start learning from those events until you start having them. So like you have to, play shows more, start playing with other people, or putting your songs out there. But I guess the other thing is just keep writing, keep experimenting, keep listening to other music. I think we were talking about that earlier. Like, if you don't have somebody in your life when you're young that's kind of showing you, hey, this is a really cool band, and you need to widen your horizons and listen to, for me, it was my older siblings showing me the Strokes, or like even earlier than that, like in the 90s, them playing me Red Hot Chili Peppers, stuff like that. If I didn't have all of them kind of showing me what good music was, I would have listened to garbage for like so long, So yeah, I just think have people that are gonna widen your taste and make you consume like art that you never would have, listened to or watched, so.
What's something unexpected you're listening to right now?
Ooh, unexpected. That's in my rotation. I don't know how unexpected it is, but I love The Weeknd. The new Weeknd album, I think, is awesome. My guitar students make me listen to music that I wouldn't have listened to, like songs they want to learn, country songs, like emo punk songs, which like the first few times I hear them, I'm like, oh my God. And then like a week later, I'm just like, rocking out to it in my car. Last time we were hanging out, Lana Del Rey came up at some point, but like I love Lana Del Rey. I love pop, like big pop names that I think maybe if you're like an indie songwriter or whatever, people think you're not into that stuff, or that you're highbrow or whatever, but it's like not, like I love pop. I would love to. It's an influence for me, and I want to keep on having that element in my music.
Yeah, I think music influences can come from everywhere, and they just kind of remain your subconscious and come out in creative ways. And yeah,
definitely,
really cool.
Definitely.
Do you have a favorite fruit?
A favorite fruit? That's a good question. I guess strawberry. Nice. Let's go with strawberry.
What are you excited about for like the future?
Ooh, with music or just kind of okay?
Anything. Like it could be music.
Technology. I don't know.
Yes.
Let's see. Space. Hopefully, being able to make racing days more of my job.
Yes.
I love it, and I love doing it, but that is kind of my mission. That's what the place I'm trying to get to. And I think when that does happen, there's a whole bunch of other things that I'm also really excited about that will hopefully fall into place. Like I want to play bigger venues. I want to see new places. I want to collaborate with other people. One of the things I do at the music school is I teach songwriting, and so that's been a new experience for me to help other people with their songs. So yeah, hopefully as I keep moving along with music, that's something I can offer other people to kind of help them behind the scenes. Even Mitski, who I was talking about earlier, I think she's done some co-writing. So that's something I want to get into. I want to work with other artists and learn from them. And I want to learn how to write for orchestra. Like I want to learn more about music theory and do stuff like Johnny Greenwood's doing, where he scores films now. And yeah, I want to make more visual projects or write more stories. If I'm able to get to a place in my life where I'm able to make that my job, I would be on the moon, you know? So.
Do you have a favorite film or a movie?
Oh, favorite film. Growing up, it was Wayne's World. It's kind of okay. Yeah, I mean, it's the only one. It's the only one I can think of because it's the answer. It's just kind of a sad movie, but it was super formative for me as a writer. It's called Ordinary People, and it's about a family who gets a family who's struck by a tragedy, and they kind of try to figure out how they move forward after that. And it's directed by Robert Redford. It came out in 1980, and I watch it at least once a year, and I just think it's really good. Yeah.
Do you believe in past lives?
I do believe in it. Yeah, because I had a crazy night terror one time. I've had a few crazy night terrors over the years, but sometimes the night terrors felt like, oh, those were past lives. So.
Wow, that's really interesting. Is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, yes. I would love to plug
Yes.
the Summer Movie Club. I hope everyone joins. The first single drops February 25th. There will be a music video for that as well. And then a couple more singles throughout the spring. And then new album will be out in June. So really excited for everybody to hear.
Where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on Instagram, brian.engles. They can also, I just joined TikTok, so yeah, that's new. I put up a video a few days ago, took me 15 seconds to make it. I checked it in a few hours, and it had not like this a lot of views for TikTok, but it was just new for me that you could just put something out there and it had like 600 views. I was like, oh, this is a wild platform, and so many people were telling me to get on it, and I was so reluctant. Social media doesn't come naturally to me, but I do get it's a tool that we can use. You can find me on TikTok, racing.days.
I don't really understand TikTok too much, so do you have kind of like advice?
The best advice I could give is just kind of it's so hard. I was about to say like be authentic, like be natural. All that stuff kind of sounds so cliche, but it is true. Like all I did was just make a video where I was like, I'm gonna share this little piece of music, and maybe people will like it, you know. And I think people of any age, kids especially, have like the best bullshit radars. Kids can smell you if you're a phony. They're just like, oh, you are like, you're full of it, you know. So I think that's the biggest thing. If you're putting yourself out there in a way that's true, then I think people are going to respond to it, you know.
That's really interesting because with Instagram, it's like kind of evolved where, I don't know, for me personally, like I edit like small videos and put them on there.
Yeah.
But I don't think you do that with TikTok. I think it's like you just put what's going on like right then and try to edit it, like use the app itself.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think I'm approaching it correctly, but
No, I think, yeah, because I put up another video like what you're talking about. I put up a second video that was more like, it was already like pre-made.
yeah.
And that one got way less
Yeah.
traction.
Okay.
So I think there is something to that immediacy of it. And yeah, it's funny. It's like, I'm talking about like being natural or whatever, where it's like with Instagram, it's so curated. It's so like, here is this version of myself I'm putting out here, which is like, you know, I'm trying to look as best as I possibly can. I'm trying to make myself seem so cool, like as a musician.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's not real at all. And I don't know. I guess there's like a piece of reality in it. And I guess it's like a collective experience now. So many people are all in on the I don't want to call it a lie, that sounds so dramatic, but so many people are part of it that I think everyone kind of knows, like, oh yeah, like right out of frame is like my messy room, or like right out of frame is like, you know, my actual life, which is like, you know, just a hot mess kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
And like, yeah, with TikTok, I think you just have to be like more candid, almost like this is my messy life,
right?
And it's so great, like yeah,
right. Not try to curate it as much, and yeah, maybe that's why it's. I've heard it's where things are moving social media wise, and as an artist, that's if you want to put your stuff out there, then you kind of have to understand the landscape. So it just felt like time to adapt.
It is kind of difficult because then your morals can kick in, and there's that kind of like space in your mind that's like, what do I do? Because I do want to have like success or whatever your definition of it is, but you have to like fight kind of like like how far will I go, or what do I feel comfortable with?
That inner voice is super important, and that's one of the songs on the album. The new album is called Chameleon, and there's a line in the chorus, I don't mind if you want me to throw my center away. I guess it's worth it to feel some love from the people who filled me with hate. And like the whole song is about that pressure of trying to be part of what's cool, or like you want so badly to make it as an artist, or to be heard. And yeah, it can get scary really quick if you lose that inner voice that's like, hey, like, have you totally become a monster? So I don't know. I have to believe that there's a way to have a foot in each world of being true to what you're trying to do, and also you have to put yourself out there. I feel like doing the little thing like the brochure, to me, that's a tangible, that's something people can hold. And I did a fan giveaway on Instagram so that like if people commented on a post, they're gonna get this in the mail.
That's so nice.
Right. So I feel like it's a combination of digital and physical, like if we can keep figuring out ways where it's like there's still that real life experience, but you're also you're also where the people are.
I feel that's so important, so thanks for like making like physical things. That's amazing. And where can people buy your music?
I guess for purchase, right now everything's kind of digital. I don't have any CDs or vinyl. I might do some physical for the new album this summer, but so I guess if you're streaming, I'm on all the streaming platforms as Racing Days. I'm the only Racing Days on there. If you wanted to buy, you could buy the first few albums. The older albums are on Bandcamp, and also the iTunes store. You can buy them there, and I get a cut of that. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Maybe just the song that I'm gonna play.
Oh yes.
Yeah. It's from the new album. It's called Bible Study Hand, and it's kind of it's one of the more storytelling songs. So I'll let the viewers follow the story. Yeah. Cool.
I love your music, so thank you so much for being a part of this interview series.
Oh, thank you for having me. I was so excited when you asked. This has been really fun. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian.
First day my way, you came with that smile that seemed to say that you'd spare my soul, that you'd known trouble, but I'm so bad at these games. And how do you keep your hair in place? It's just fate that you stumble with such grace. And can we tell the man upstairs to next night when I'm bumped up by your side and my heart beats overdrive. Got the nerve to cross the line when you light up as you say. I remind you of a snake. Please don't take it the wrong way. Of course it's a compliment how I'm always shedding skin. And can we tell the man upstairs to go out for a break? And can we see just how this feels, even for today? You don't have to be my friends if this all ends in tears. I'm glad I have your Bible study hand. Your Bible study hand. Bible study hand. Thank you.
You're calling me, just say the word, boy, and I'm kissing at you sacredly. You rock a